Hello, friends, and welcome to this exciting journey of the Terraforms. This is one of my favorite topics, and we are going to discuss the Terraform related stuff from very basic levels to the advanced levels. So, you keep watching this particular video series on the Terraform, and you will learn a lot from this. The cloud formations, which is specific to the AWS, is also one of my interesting topic, but this is related a vendor specific. Means you can use the cloud formations only for the AWS cloud provider, but the Terraform don't have the vendor restrictions, means that it can tie up with the several cloud providers, so you don't have to learn the infrastructure as a code service for each of the cloud provider. You will learn one and try to implement it. For example, I am using AWS, but you can in the similar way, referring the documentations for the Azure, you can do all the stuff using the Terraform, build our infrastructure in the Azure environment, in the Google Cloud, in the Alibaba, whatever the cloud environment you have, the Terraform will use perfectly fine for all the cloud providers. So in this particular session, we are going to understand what is the Terraform all about, how it works, and we will demonstrate you one of the resource by creating one of the resources, the EC2 instance, which is a virtual machines by using the Terraform. So we will do a setup also for the Terraform, or we will guide you how to do a setup for the Terraforms and how to execute the code from your local machines to just deploy a resource on the AWS environment. So let's proceed further for and see what we are going to cover in this particular slides or particular sessions. So what is the Terraform? So it's a simple that you have to write the code, you have to plan. Either the plan means that before applying it to the environment, you have the plan which is related with the writing of the codes, that whatever you write, Terraform is able to deploy it in the environment or not. So you can see that before applying, the Terraform will release you a plan in which the Terraform will instruct you that I am going to remove these particular things, remove these particular resources, I am going to apply this or create it or modify it, whatever it is. Terraform give you the plan, and after that, when you are agreed that okay, the plan looks good, you are applying that particular written code into the environment to build a architecture, build the environment. That's why it's called as the infrastructure as a code, IAC. So using the CLI, you can manage hundreds of cloud services. The Terraform, this is the beauty of the Terraform, that you can install the Terraforms in your system only by the 2 minutes, devoting 2 minutes only. You can manage to set up the environment for the Terraforms. You don't have to devote such much time on to just set up the infrastructure, and it's work very efficiently. So this is the beauty of the Terraform, and basically we write only three commands, that we write our code, we initialize, which is we did at the beginning of the code, and after that we execute the Terraform plan, and that after the Terraform apply. So after applying all the code that you written for to create the resources or create us in the infrastructure, so all things will get deployed into the environment very efficiently. You don't have to do anything manually. You don't just have to refer to the environment that whatever you written, what is the plan generated by the Terraform is implemented successfully or not. So in this particular sessions, we are also going to cover how to create an issue to instance to just interest you on this particular topic, that how efficiently we creating. And as our sessions goes on, we will try to create several infrastructures related things, associating the elastic IP also to the AWS, associating the security groups, not the default one. So we are going to handle several things when in the next session, in which we are going to cover all these things. So basically, you should have the AWS account, either it's free tier or not. It's you but it you have a AWS account open, and the Terraform installations will be done at your system, from which you write the code and you execute all the commands. You apply all the commands to the cloud provider. So when we try to initiate a deployment, so for creating the EC2 instance, the three important things that we need to consider, that how will the AWS will authenticate that you are the correct user. So you have to create a user, and you have to use the all the securities keys for that particular user, in which in reason you are going to create the EC2 instance, because there are several reasons we have in the for the AWS. So you have to be very specific, because the AMI will get changed per reason. Suppose you are going to create Linux image, Linux instance in Mumbai region, that particular image will get the name of the image will get for the Ohio. So in that particular things, you have to consider in which particular, you have to be very specific for that particular things, and also the resource type, which type of resource you are creating. So I am going to cover all the tutorials for the T2 micros, that is this will come into the free tier, so that you can learn the Terraform and you don't have to invest a single penny. So this is my main focus, to just learn the Terraform without investing any amount, if you have the AWS account, which is coming into the free tier. So guys, if you talk about, okay, that the EC2 instance, okay, well, we are going to create a EC2 instance into the Terraform environment. What it is a big deal. We can access the console, and we will create it. We can associate the elastic IP address to the particular instance. What a big deal in this. Why we are going to use the Terraform? Okay, I means your question is very straightforward and very clear to me. Okay, we don't require it, but what about this particular architecture? Terraform is also good in creating these types of lengthy environment. In these types of complex environment, you can say within the 5 minutes. Are you able to create this type of environment using the window console in 5 minutes? Are you going to create a several instance into a particular VPC, using all the VPC peering, all these things, database installations, DNS route, domain services? You are going to create all these things in 5 minutes? No. That's why we are learning the Terraform. And what about if there is a problem in the infrastructure and you want to destroy it and create a fresh? You have to put all the times again into the environment, and then you have to create, then you have to create again. So in that particular, say, you have to understand these types of things as well. It's not a task to create environment for the EC2 instance only. Think about a situation when you have a very complex environment, and Terraform is very good to deal with such types of environment as well. So, guys, this is a very interesting tool and very in demand tool, you can say, in the DevOps industries. So now we are going to see how we can going to create all these things. So first in the steps, you should have the AWS account like we have for the AWS, and I'm using the free domain for the AWS. You should also have that type of account for the AWS. If you don't have, create a one. It will debit ₹2 for the account verifications, and then after the verifications, it will refund you. So let's have it. After that, you have to create a Terraform. You have to download the Terraform as well. So you can download the Terraform either for the Mac OS, free BST, Linux, OpenBST, Solaris. Like I'm using the Windows, so I installed the 64-bit, and it's got downloaded. After downloaded, I moved that particular to the this particular folders, binaries folders. Okay, so if you are not setting the environment path for this particular exe, the Terraform, then you have to use this particular path only to access the Terraform. So you have to set the environment variables so that you can access from any location. So for this, you have to go to the properties, and here in the advanced system settings, the environment variables, you have the path. You can see that I already added C binaries for the path. So whatever inside this particular is we can we just added the path for this, so that we can go to the any path to access the Terraforms. So you have to do the similar settings and all these things only, guys. So you have now the complete setup of the Terraform. So it's only a less than 2 minutes job to set up the Terraform in your environment. It's very easy, and this is the beauty of the Terraform. So now I'm going to open a PowerShell. Let's clear the screen. Okay, and just zoom a little bit. There is some problem that is not related. Terraform means the PowerShell is working fine in my environment. I will look into this particular error after the session. Okay, fine. So let it be maximized. Okay. So let's create a new folder. Suppose that I'm going to this particular location C drive, and I am going to open a new folder called Terraform. Okay, and let's go inside this particular folder, copy the path, and now I am going to this particular path. Okay, let's write the Terraform to check the Terraform is working fine or not. Okay, so it's working fine. Let's clear the screen. Now, what we have to do, you have to use any editor. Whatever the editor you have, Notepad++, Atom, whatever the editor you have available, you can use it. But I am using Atom. Okay, I'm going to add that particular folder which I created, Terraform. Okay, select the folder. Now its folder is created. I am going to write a file, my first EC2, and the T for Terra, and F for Terraform, and F for Terraform file. Okay. So you can see that I have a one file created. Okay, so as per the slide, I shown you what things we required. We required the authenticate. We have to authenticate user. Suppose I am a user, I have to authenticate that. How will AWS will recognize me? For this, I am going to my account, the AWS account. I am going to IAM. Okay, I have a Terraform user already. If you don't have, you can create by any name. So go to this particular user, Terraform user, and go to the security credentials and make this account deleted. First inactivate and then delete it. copy this key, paste it here, and delete it. As simple as that. Now you create a new access key. Okay, you don't have to show this to anybody, the access keys. This is a very sensitive information. I am going to delete it after this particular sessions. So before that, I'm going to the Terraform registry page because I have to show you about the Terraform. So you can see that the Terraform supporting these all providers. So there are lots of provider in the list. So it's also supporting the Kubernetes, it's also supporting AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform. So it's going to tie up with the multiple provider, and these all providers is managed by the Terraform. So there are lots of provider which is not managed by the Terraform. So then, but Terraform also support that particular provider, and these all provider are managed by Terraform. So there is some a syntax change. We will going to discuss how we can utilize in that particular cloud provider which is supported by or managed by the Terraform, and which is not supported by the Terraforms. So you can see that there are lots of providers. So basically in this particular section I am a bit concentrated about the AWS. So I am going to see the AWS related. See, you can see the how we can use the providers for the AWS in the same way we have for the other provider also. So it doesn't mean that I am concentrating on AWS. So this particular session is not for the developer which is developing in the for the Azure. No, you have to refer the documentations. This is the only things that we have to look into all the time. So for the AWS provider, you can see that okay, for the provider I have to copy this particular session. So I am going to copy this particular sessions into my atom editor. This is the first thing that I concentrate on the AWS, and I am specific about using the reason. But for the reason I am using the AP South one. Okay, so I am putting here the AP South one for the Mumbai region. Okay, and for the remaining thing like authentications and all these things, I am going to look into the documentations, and here you will find that there is several ways for authentications. I am using the static credential as of now, but there is an environment. You can use the environment variable as well, the shared credentials as well, using the configuration file. Code build, ECS, EKS, you have to define the roles, and by the roles you can also access the Terraforms, and you can authenticate in for the AWS clouds. In this way you can manage it, but I'm going to use the to have a better understanding, and this is also or not it's also going to be a risky things, but we will look into the in the further session how we can use in the different way. But for simplicity I am going to use by using the clear text. Okay, because after this session I am going to remove that particular key which I am currently using. Okay, so for the access key ID I am going to copy it. I am going to paste it here. Fine. And for the secret access key, copy it, and I'm going to paste it here as well. Just save it. Okay, so this is the first thing, that the authentications part is not complete, but this will not going to create a EC2 instance. How it will get created, because we didn't provide it how which resource I want to create it. For that you have to again go to the documentations. Just close this window, and you have to go to the documentations for the Terraform, and Terraform here you will find the EC2 instance. Okay, I have to create a ec2 instance. In the same way, you can, if you go to the services for the ec2, you can see that the ec2 or the services that is related with the ec2s is listed here. So there are lots of settings that you can handle through the aws console. Whatever the settings you can handle through the aws console, you can use through the terraform also. So there is a huge list to manage the AWS related things. So this is the you can say the hyper hierarchy for the EC2. In the same way, we have the DynamoDB. In the same way, we have Cognito. We have the code build, code commit, code deploy. So whatever you can perform through the console, means you can perform through the web console, you can perform using the Terraform as well in the similar way, like code star notification, Cognito, cloud formation. So cloud formation is also a very beautiful IAC, but I'm going to show you that as well, that what is the difference between the Terraform, which don't have the vendor restrictions, but the cloud formation have the vendor restrictions, that it will work only with the AWS. So let me first provide the EC2 instance creations things, resource related information. So I am going to AWS instance. Here you can find the lots of informations, but to make it simple, I am taking this particular part, that I am going to create a EC2 instance only. Okay, so you can see that there is lots of things like argument reference, which is optional, which is not which is required. So all the informations you have, you can find it related with the EC2 instance here. So it will provide you all the informations, and you have to refer documentations, because this is not a simple task to learn all the things. You each time based upon your requirement, you have to look into the documentation all the time for the Terraform. Okay, so now I'm going to atom editor, and here I'm going to paste it. Okay, the resource AWS instance, you don't have to change this particular part, but this part you can change it. You can consider it as a alias. Okay, so my first EC2, this is my alias for the instance, that we can refer into the Terraform. This will not, you are going to show when the instance get created. And for the AMI related things, we are going to use for the AP South one image, because the image is the vendor is related with the region. So for each region, the Amazon is the same image on the same machines, the image name get changed. I'm going to show you that as well. For the instance type, I'm going to use T2 micro. For the name tag, we are going to use my first EC2 using Terraform. Here. This is my instance when it get created with this name, T2 micro. And now only one thing is left, that I have to provide the AMI, that which AMI I'm going to use. So currently I am in the AP South one. So this is the same reason, AP South one. I also provided the access key, secret key, all the things will get provided here. The AMI is only missing, the instance type I already provided. So these all informations I provided to the Terraform file, and one thing is missing is AMI. So I'm going to catch the AMI. So whenever you launch the instance, let me show you. So whenever you launch any instance, let me cancel it. And okay, so this is the quick start. And whenever you launch an instance, like we are currently in the Mumbai region, so you can see that 352 is the last number. When I move to the Ohio region, you can see that the image last three digit is get changed, not the last three digit, whole the image AMI get changed, but I am concentrating you on the last three so that you can identify, okay, the changes going is happening. So the image, the same machines image have the different name. It's based on the region in which you are using. So I am currently using the Mumbai region, so I am just copying it for the image name that we have for the Mumbai region. Okay, I paste it here. Okay, that's it, guys. We have completed all the things related to with the Terraforms. So when we try to implement it, it will create a new instance. And how we are going to run this particular file? So we are going to look into these particular things by executing the command. So we are currently in the Terraform. Let me. Okay, so we have one Terraform file inside the Terraform folder. So you can see that inside the Terraform and the C drive Terraform, we have one Terraform file. So what we have to do, we have to initialize the Terraform. So when we initialize the Terraform, it will going to look into the provider. So when it find that it's related with the AWS provider, it will download all the supporting file, all the binaries that is related to handle the AWS provider. It will fetch all the informations from for that particular provider, so that it will work for that particular provider. So I'm going to show you. We just need to write Terraform init. Oh, sorry, Terraform. So you can see that it's downloading all the plugins, and you can see all these things here as well. Let's refresh it. So when the plugin get downloaded, you can find that there is one Terraform folder created, and under the provider you have the Hashicorp, and under that you have the AWS, because I am using the AWS provider, so you have the AWS. Similarly, if you want to use for the Azure, you don't have to do anything. So, just let me show you how you can download the plugins for the Azure as well. You have to go to the provider, okay, and go to the Azure. Here you have to go to the documentations, and this is the Azure, the simplest one. I'm going to just copy it. I'm not going to create any resources, but this is just for your demonstrations. Like I'm using two provider here. I'm nothing going to use here, just empty. So I'm going to just save it. And when I again try to initialize, because I added one more provider, so we have to initialize it, and you can see that it's again initializing, and it's installing or downloading the Azure, because AWS it's already find the plugins already get downloaded. Now it's downloading for the Azure, because it's in the Terraform file. It's fine that I'm going to use the provider for the Azure also. So this is the beauty of the Terraform. And if you go to inside this particular Hashicorp folder, you can find that all the plugins related with the Azure is also got downloaded. So when we are going to use the Azure, the plugin is also there, and it will start working in the full fashion. So but in the today topic, I'm just concentrating on the Terraform to create a AWS EC2 instance. So we don't need to remove the AWS Azure. Let it present. There is no harm on it. This is the only for the demonstration purpose I shows you. So let me run a Terraform plan. So when you run a Terraform plan, it will see all these things related with the AWS, because we are using the AWS instance, which is the part of this particular plugins. So you can see that we have the plan ready. The till plan, when it's created a plan, it doesn't mean that the EC2 instance get created into the environment. No, this is just displaying you the plan that what is going to perform when we apply a Terraform apply command. So before running the apply, it's always a good practice to have a look on the plans as it's going as per your need or not, or you have to change the code. So always run a plan before applying, just not apply the code, because after the Terraform init, if you apply the code, it will create a instance. But before that, you have to run the plan to look into what it's going to create. So you can see that it's going to create. This is the create plan, and it's going to create a EC2 instance. Okay, this is of type T2 micro, and this particular image it's going to use, and this is the tag name that we already used, and all the things will know after the apply, because we didn't provided any information, so it will create all these things as per the default. So you can see in the image or in the particular launch instance also, like we created, we trying to create using the console. We selected this particular AMI, we selected it. Okay, we selected the instance type. So you can see all the things coming as a default. So in this way, if we provide, it will override it. If I not provide, it will not get override, the default will be applied. The similar way the Terraform also works. So we don't have currently any running instance in the environment, and now we are going to apply this particular thing. So I'm going to apply this. So you can see, as per the plan, we have one resource that I am going to add. So I am going to execute Terraform apply. So you can see that when we apply it, is again taking, will take you confirmations either you are really going to create it, and it's also show you the plan. So each time you have to refer the plan, either it's going as per your requirement or not. So we are going to create a simple plan. So it's creating a EC2 instance. So now I confirm it, and now it's starting creating the, if the image, if you find there is a problem with the image, it will just show you that there is either error in while creating the EC2 instance. So when I refresh it, there is currently no instance that is currently in running state, because I have several other machines also running into the environment. That's why I put a tag of running only. So soon you will find an instance, and here you can see that the name of my instance is my first EC2 instance using the Terraform. It's coming into the environment. So you can see that I created a first instance using the Terraform with the name my first EC2 using Terraform. So you can see that this particular instance is now managed by the Terraforms. Okay, so whenever you try to delete it, and when we try to build run a Terraform, it will create a system again, and if there is a system already exist or not in the stop state, it will not impact and do any modification on that particular instance. So this is the beauty of the Terraform. Now this particular instance is now managed by the Terraform. So one more thing I just want to show you guys, like for the cloud formations, there is only, means the cloud formation is have a restrictions that it will work for only AWS, and Terraform will tie up with the other cloud provider as well. But the cloud formations have one beauty like designers, where you can create in architecture. You don't have to write any code, you have to just put and drop a instance. So you can see that I'm going to use the EC2 instance here, like instance. I'm going to drop it here, so you can see that it's automatically written a code, and if you look into the template, it will give you all the code with the EC2 instance that I just added. In this way you can draw the architecture, and the code will get written behind the scenes. So this is the beauty of the cloud formations, but there is also a defect that it will not work for the other cloud providers. And the Terraform has the beauty that I have to write the code, I have to refer the documentation, but it will going to tie up with the several cloud providers. So this is the beauty of the Terraform. And the similar way, I created an environment into the EC2 for the EC2 and EC2 machine. I am going to destroy it within the but just writing a simple command like the Terraform destroy. I am going to show you that as well. Because this instance is managed by the Terraform, so we can handle all the things for the Terraform, and it knows that which resource is managed by the Terraform. It will delete only or make an impact on that particular instance only. If you have other instance that is not you created by the Terraform IC, so it will not impact on that particular resources. It will only look create or destroy only those resources that managed by the Terraform. This is the beauty of the Terraform. And now if you look for the resources, just refresh the page, you can find that all the resources that managed by the Terraform, which is previously in the running state, so it's now removed. So this is the beauty of the Terraform. And in other lecture we are going to see several things like that. We are going to build us a complete architectures like associating the elastic IP with the resources, securities group, and all these things whichever we required. And we are going to see that how we are going to use the variables also, how we are going to use the functions also, how we can use the don't use the clear text, these types of things like passing the credential in openly. So we are not going to use how we can use the store the state file in other locations, so that it will not keep the copy. What is the importance of this particular states file, what is the backup file, what is the log file. So all these things, how we can use the variables, how we can use the tfvars file. So basically I'm also concentrating for the Terraform associates exam, so I'm going to cover that as well. And soon I will launch the challenge questions for the Terraform associate exam as well. But this particular course that I starting today is basically boost your knowledge from basics levels to the advanced level in the Terraform. So hope you guys like this video and like my effort. So please keep subscribe to my channel. If you didn't subscribe me yet, click on the bell icon and click on the like icon also, and share it with your friends. Keep learning and keep watching. Be safe. Thank you.